I really do think this is a great show for many reasons. The plot, for example, as we see Nadia being given somewhat a gift as she is going back in time, and she uses it to her advantage to try and change the past, but only to reveal that, if anything, changing the past won't do anything, and she should just learn to accept and enjoy the life she has and just enjoy the people around her. Characters were really great. We see Nadia somewhat using this whole time travel thing as a way to change her life, and she somewhat learns more about her family, and she goes through this somewhat wild goose chase, just really trying to fix her own life through her mother and her grandmother, as if by being her mother, trying to fix the mistakes that she made while she was pregnant, going through other relatives, and just trying to fix a huge situation that would help her childhood and make her have a better life. So at first she's grasping at straws, but then she's really diving deeper, and we get to see her going closer and closer and closer to her goal. It's actually really amazing. And on that, we also see perspective from her parents, majority of her family, and even her best friend Ruth, and we get to see what they were up to in the 80s and all that. It's really quite interesting. On the opposite side, we have Alan, who also uses this opportunity and goes back in time, but unlike Nadia, he's not using it for selfish reasons. He is just simply enjoying the life of Germany, and he's just seeing it through a different person's perspective and just really seeing the culture. And when the opportunity arises to change the past, he decides not to interfere, as he is scared of making huge change in time. Really quite interesting. If I were being a bit critical on this show, I'd have to say there's two things to be somewhat critical about. First is the lack of Alan in the show. He's a very interesting character, yet doesn't get as much screen time as Nadia, which I do understand. The show is mainly focused on Nadia, but I feel like Alan is just a bigger part of the show as her, and yet we don't get as much from him, but what we do get is absolute gold. The second thing is, I feel like this show, the first season in general, was a comedy, and I don't think this season is as funny, but I feel like that's because the plot is very serious and very interesting, and though there's humorous parts in the show, I think they decided it would work way much better as a drama than it would a comedy. I totally agree. There's one funny thing that, well, at least I find funny in this whole show. If you remember, quite a while back, Stranger Things Season 3 had a lot of characters smoking cigarettes, and Netflix got a lot of complaints from that. So Netflix put out a statement saying they're not going to show cigarettes in their shows, and then it's quite funny seeing this a few years later. We see, not only in this particular season, the main character smoking anytime she gets, but the probably majority of her family smoking cigarettes as well. And to top it off, the worst but also the biggest fuck you moment, which I think is hysterical, is having a pregnant woman smoking cigarettes. And not just like pregnant as in like, oh, they're pregnant. No, fucking boom, huge fucking belly smoking cigarettes. That's the hugest fuck you to those who made the complaint. I think that's hysterical. Personal opinion. Now, the show may not have tried to have a message, or at least the message was more aimed at the characters than the people watching it, but what I got from it was at least two messages. One being, don't live in what ifs. The character Nadia, before she goes on this huge journey, she decides to confront one of her mother's boyfriends and say that don't go for this Coney Island, and he goes for this what if Coney Island, if only I went to Coney Island, if only I didn't go to Coney, and it's basically a theory of we need to stop living in the past, we need to stop thinking about the past and trying to do these what ifs. If only I didn't do this, if only I did this, and just enjoy what you have. And we see Nadia go on the Coney Island journey only to realise that her past will always be the past and there's no point in changing it, and just look forward to the present. And I thought that was a really good message. The other message they have is from the character Alan's perspective, as we see that Alan, he's a play it safe guy. He never really wants to take risks. He's too worried, if anything. And he meets his grandmother, and she tells him, if you're so worried about making a mistake, you're never going to enjoy life. You're not living. Which I think is a great message, as a lot of us do get scared to take risks, and we kind of live a safe life, and fair play, some of us should do that, but then don't always take one risk at a time, because maybe because of that risk you will get some sort of enjoyment and success. We shouldn't live so sheltered, and I thought that was a great message. Honestly, I really got a lot out of this show. Season 1, when I first watched it, was more out of boredom and a little bit of curiosity, but I ended up thinking it was a really good season not too long ago. And then when this season was announced, I was sceptical, as I didn't think a second season was necessary, but I watched it, and honestly I think it's one of the best TV shows of 2022 at this point. And maybe in the last 3 years. I've really put it up there. So, is it good? Fucking hell yeah, it's good. If I had to rate it, easy 9 out of 10. Now when it comes to recommendations, I do have 3. The first is 11/22/63. Now I know a lot of people may not like that because it has James Franco, but putting James Franco and the problematic situation he is in aside, it's still a great show about time travel. Supposedly, what if someone could stop the John F. Kennedy assassinations? Definitely a great watch, 100% recommend, with or without James Franco. The next is The Leftovers. A particular episode in Season 2 reminded me of Russian Doll. Season 2, it gave me off that feel. And so I still think The Leftovers is a great TV show. Whilst I think it has a bit of a slow Season 1, the rest is very interesting and just such a weird but cool concept. And then last is Timeless, about a guy going back in time and changing history, and a group trying to stop him and stop what he is attempting to do. So yeah, that's it for today. I really hope you do go watch these shows. They are great, immense fun.